Hi everyone, my name is Isabel Hernandez, and this is my energy efficient home. To start off, here's a quick little house tour. There are side views, a front view, and a back view. Moving on, for the door I measured out a 10 by 20 centimeter as was in the requirements. Then to insulate it, I used a weather strip and stuck it in the inside of the door. Then I noticed that when I closed the door, there was still some of the inside exposed, basically meaning that there was cracks between the door and the house. So to fix this, I used a clay type material and molded that to fit the small crevices between the door and the wall. Next, for the windows, I cut out two squares from the box that were measured out to be 10 by 10 centimeters. Afterwards, I cut out a square shape of 11 by 11 centimeters of the transparent paper so that I would be able to tape it down to the outside walls of my house. To insulate them, I used weather strip in the small space between the window and the wall. I used a weather strip in each side of the window except for the top of it. Then I made a little frame out of cardboard to put over my windows. For the walls, I decided to use foil cloth and what I think is like paper towel. Before I get into my explanation of how I insulated my walls, I would just like to put it out there that I decided to use these certain materials based off of research. While researching, I learned that bubble wrap and aluminum foil do not work well together as far as insulating a house goes. And I also discovered that foil may be the best insulator for temperature regulation. Therefore, I decided to use it. Foil is super thin, so I knew that I needed to use other materials to reach the 1 centimeter thick walls requirement. Although cotton and the paper towel weren't the most preferred choice of insulators, they each had their own benefits that I thought worked well together. The cotton kind of cloth material mixed with the paper towel simulated fiberglass insulation. Lastly, I didn't do much to the ceiling since I had taped and glued it shut, so now I'm going to explain the process. I took the cloth and paper towel and cut out 4 square pieces of each material so that it would fit the height and width of each wall. So in total, there were 8 cut pieces, 4 of each material. I glued one cloth piece with one paper towel so that it would create a thicker material of the two combined. I made 4 pieces for the 4 walls inside. I used wood glue to glue the material onto the walls. For the walls with the windows on them, I cut out a 20 by 20.5 centimeter square of the fabric and then glued the material with the square cut out over the walls. Then I used the aluminum foil and folded it to fit the walls of my house. I then glued it, and I followed previous measurements for the square window cutouts. I trimmed off extra material that did not fit and that was not needed. For the poster board, I measured 22 by 23 centimeters and cut out 4 pieces for the walls. Then I glued that to the walls once it was all cut out. Next, I cut out poster board for my floor. I sort of eyeballed this part because it was more meant for decoration. I ended up tracing lines over it to create a square tiled floor. Lastly, I trimmed the extra material around the windows because it was covering the windows a bit. For my temperature change, my initial temperature was 22.7 degrees Celsius and my final temperature was 15.1 degrees Celsius. So the overall temperature change is 7.6 degrees Celsius. I've made my house energy efficient by using weather strip on the windows and walls. I used 3 types of insulation and went even further as to close off crevices with the clay strips. I added the poster board to the floor to act as drywall. As far as conserving energy in my house, for light, I use LED lights, which are proven to not use as much energy as incandescent lights and the compact fluorescent lamps. Additionally, I added solar panels to the roof of my house. Solar panels convert light from the sun into electricity that gives the house power. Lastly, I try to use light colors to paint my house. This is because darker colors tend to attract the sun more. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you for watching.